Function with Purpose podcast. All things health, wellness, fitness, and education through the physical therapy perspective. I am Dr. Amy Bullock, owner and founder of Fortress Physical Therapy. Fortress PT is here to serve the Charlotte metro area by highlighting the importance of how and why physical therapy should be a part of your health and wellness lifestyle. Here we go. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 2 into 2022. Function with Purpose podcast. Dr. Amy here with you guys today. Thank you for joining in. If you're a first-time listener, definitely subscribe. Check out the previous 3 seasons. There's a theme. There's 8 episodes to each season. I would appreciate the follow and any insight or comments or questions or a topic that you may want to talk about or discuss in the future. Let me know. Okay, so Season 4, Episode 2, we are going to be talking about the difference between training versus exercising. So what is the difference in, are you even doing what you're supposed to be doing with both of those? Or is one better than the other? Or overall, what the heck? I thought they were 2 in 1, or I thought they were both the same. Okay, so I'm going to talk about exercise or movement. Exercise is more like daily behavior routines, right? So we must have daily exercise and movement. It must be non-negotiable due to its profound effects to keep our well-being status in check, right? Exercise and movement needs to be non-negotiable. So as far as daily behavior, and daily routines, that might look like exercise to you might look like performing a walk outside on your lunch break, maybe stretching prior to bed or when you wake up in the morning, maybe a yoga routine or something. Something exercise-wise, movement-wise, that needs to be supportive of recovery and wellness aspects to our health, to our health profile. So exercise and movement doesn't really have a what I want to say, like a scheduled linear approach. There's not really like progression that's scheduled throughout, as opposed to what there would be with training, like training with purpose. So I think these 2 words just don't really get used appropriately or applied appropriately. So with the exercise, consistency is the overall goal, so you can develop better habits into your routine, right? Because as I said before, daily exercise and movement needs to be non-negotiable. It needs to support our wellness profile and health profile. Exercise movement happens each day. So whether, you take your mid-morning stretch routine or you sit in the bottom of a squat for 5 minutes in the morning and then 5 minutes in the afternoon, that's part of exercise and movement daily behavior. And then we turn to the flip side. So training, like what does this word training mean? So for me, I train and exercise. Training is, I actually have a schedule that I follow. So I outsource my own training program, and there's actually progression that is scheduled into my training program. There are structured rest days, and there must be rest days incorporated in order to balance that training progression schedule. So with training, in the scheduling of training, there's going to be some thoughtful progression with the programming. So usually with my programming, there are a lot of strengthening components, muscle endurance components, maybe some range of motion and flexibility into my warm-up routine and cool-down routine, as well as a conditioning portion that is set for each day. There's definitely a pattern that happens, but different intentions of progress that must be achieved or thought of for the week or even that day. And usually, now I'm training for life. I like to say this. I'm not training for something specific. I used to in the past, like for maybe some CrossFit competitions, but right now I'm not really training for anything. I'm training for being resilient at life, avoiding sickness, pain, avoiding disease, right? So that there's an overall long term in mind that supports strength, range of motion, keeping my joints healthy, maintaining my muscle flexibility, or, say if I do want to prep for perhaps a CrossFit competition down the road, or maybe you want to look into that Spartan race into the next year that might be, a 5K or 10K long course, or maybe it's a marathon or it's an ultra run or something, right? You need to have a training plan set in place along with exercise, daily exercise, right? So training happens on a schedule. There's purposeful, thoughtful progression in order to build up your capacity for that specific goal. And then there also has to coincide specific designated rest periods for the body in order to recover and heal, right? Because you're a little bit beating yourself down, but then you need purposeful, restful days that your body has to be able to heal naturally. And I think from a personal standpoint, especially with your training protocol or training days, when you have those structured rest periods or rest days, I think that's where exercise or daily movement needs to really turn up the volume on those days, right? So maybe it is more walking, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening. Or maybe it's stationary biking for 30 minutes just to kind of get some lower heart rate pumping, not necessarily up into your 80% of your heart rate max. Or maybe it is a nice long yoga flow routine or stretching program that's 45 or 60 minutes long. Or even maybe you go to your massage therapist to get some body work done, or you see your physical therapist. Hey, hello. So I think, on especially from training routines, that when there are structured rest days, I think exercise needs to help increase and balance that, or daily movement, right? So what should you be doing and what should you not be doing? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but there is clearly a difference between the verbiage. Training has intentional progression that is on a schedule. Again, me personally, I'm training for life. So I literally want to train every muscle in my body, every joint in my body to be strong and resilient. And that makes me feel good. I like lifting heavy things. I like incorporating heavy object lifting, or utilization of the kettlebell. Hint, hint, if you didn't understand or see that on my social media, I love the kettlebell. as well as a nice, well-rounded training program routine. And then ever more clearly, I'm getting better and better with getting daily exercise. So developing a better daily behavior pattern with exercise and consistency over time that supports my recovery and overall wellness and health profile. So, are you training or are you just exercising? I think there needs to be both. So you kind of have to figure out that pathway on where you want to go. Whether it is you want to train for a specific competition or a 10K or a marathon or I don't know, anything else that you want to train for, that rock climbing event, etc. There needs to be thoughtful training progression, and daily exercise and behavior, it needs to happen. Consistency is the goal to develop that better habit routine for that daily exercise and movement profile. So if you find yourself kind of like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what to do, I need to get a little bit more insight, well, Fortress PT is here. We don't just do physical therapy and rehab. I personally program health and wellness and training, hybriding some physical therapy aspects into someone's routine that's tailored to them. It's not just, TheraBand exercises and air squats and jumping jacks. You can get a lot of things done with just body weight and perhaps one apparatus, a dumbbell or a kettlebell. So, yeah, training. There are thoughtful progressions with the actual programming with structured rest days. Exercise or movement. That is daily behavior. That is non-negotiable. It's going to have significant, profound effects on our overall well-being. Are you doing both, or are you just doing one of those? Think about that. Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself later on to avoid sickness, to avoid disease, to avoid pain in order to function with purpose? That's a wrap for today's episode, Function with Purpose podcast. For more information on this episode, please check out the show notes within your podcast app. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, or drop your comments and questions below. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thanks for the listen. Pursuit, precision, purpose.